Hello, my name is Tony Pagliocco, and I'm running for National President of Omega Delta Phi. This is episode 19 of my video web series, and if it's your first time watching one of these, the reason why I make these videos is because I like to answer questions from brothers about my campaign platform and sort of share them with the entire body. And I also like to talk about challenges that I feel we're going to be facing as an organization and how we can work together to solve those. Now tonight I got a very packed schedule of questions, so I'm going to jump from them one at a time really quickly. I have 3 questions tonight submitted from Brother Fernando Valle, and I hope I got the last name pronounced correctly. Fernando's first question is, how would you empower the actual chapters? And then Fernando goes on to talk about, there's been a lot of talk about setting up alumni associations and starting new chapters farther east. And meanwhile, he's watching local entities be restricted with rules and regulations and being drowned in paperwork. He feels that nationals and regionals require so much, but they don't receive anything in return. And so instead they go to conferences, nothing's taken care of, and then instead we're brought down with more policies such as this new entity plan. So taking a step back, he asks, how would you make sure each chapter thrives and receives the support from nationals that it deserves? This is a great question because for us to actively know what these chapters need, we need to talk to them, we need to listen to them, we need to be able to digest and hear what they're saying and not just making policy blindly. I have 12 years of director level experience in the software and media industry, and the one thing that always drove me crazy was that when you have a project manager or a product owner and they're making deadlines and schedules based off of work that they're not doing. Usually it's the software developers who do that work. And the one thing I've always done with the teams that I've led is that I always hold my teams accountable to make the estimation. So if I say I have this project, I don't say when it's going to be due. I don't say when it's going to be done and ready to go. I talk to the people who are doing the work. This is the same sort of paradigm that we need to talk about when it comes to the relationship between nationals and the active chapters. We need to know what resources they need. Is it in intake? Is it in risk management? Is it in service, social? Is it in career planning for, after you graduate from college? We need to take all that information from the chapters and figure out how we can best slice this up to be able to deliver the support and resources that the active chapters want and start solving some of these issues. Most of these issues that we're talking about are communication issues. And that goes to one of my platform pieces where I talk about transparency, clarity, communication. It is absolutely critical. We cannot be making policy blindly just for the sake of making it and not knowing what value we're going to get back in return. Active chapters are just that. They're active chapters at universities. They join our brotherhood not only for the family that they get and not only for the service that we provide and the good academics that we support each other in, but it's also college, it's a fraternity, and it's not a business, okay? And so I think that one of the best ways we can make sure chapters thrive and get the support is by talking to them. Talking to them, finding out what they need, proposing solutions, and then moving on from there. And then as president, I will work with my board and be like, okay, here are the things that we need to do. What are our timelines? And I will get those commitments because if I'm going to make commitments to do something for 3 years and I'm going to do it the best that I can, I'm going to expect my board to have the same attitude, the same mind shift of that commitment is key. Honesty is key. Communication is key. So that sort of envelops what I feel is I can't give a specific resource or support that I would provide because I want to talk to the chapters and know what they want. Fernando's second question is dues. We've been blindly paying dues without really knowing where they go to. Do they stay at $125 or go up? Again, this is something that I brought up in my platform very, very early, and I talk about it in a previous video, is that I was on the national board. I was a director of technology under Ivan, and I didn't even know what my budget was until I showed up at nationals. I think that's something that's totally wrong and needs to change. I consistently talk about on my platform clarity. I want our brothers to know where their money is going. And they may not agree where the money is going, but they'll know where it's going. And if we say that we're going to chop up money to do this, this, and this, then the active members who are paying the money up to the nationals should know and be able to verify that money is going to A, B, and C. Now, in regards to, do stay at 125 or go up, I mean, that's a question that I can't answer yet, because one of the things I want to do is I want to bring in a third-party financial company that will do a strict audit of our records, find out where our money's been going, and how we can invest that to start accumulating that sort of returnable wealth. I have an idea of what our national account is at based off previous years, and I know that we could be doing more with our money to letting it grow on top of each other and eventually being able to fund more national programs, provide more resources, and also eventually get to that long-term goal of that paid national board that just runs the fraternity as their business. This is something that many other organizations already do, but we're young. We need to be able to have that time to mature, to learn the right way to do things, and also make sure that we're not jumping the gun too early just for the sake of saying that we have something now. Fernando's third question is, how will you hold the national board accountable? And Fernando goes on to talk about how he gets messages from nationals saying that something is going to come on the 9th, but it doesn't come until the 16th. Or if they turn in paperwork late, they lose points. Or if they show up 5 minutes late to a meeting at conference, they get fined. Yet it's okay for nationals to be late on their own deadlines. And he asks, how would I address this as president? This is actually really easy to answer because it's the same mindset, the same attitude that I've used in the teams that I've managed before. And when you're dealing with a company, one of my previous companies, we dealt with over 49 million unique visitors a month to our web properties. And most of the people that we were dealing with as clients were like Procter & Gamble, Sony, NBC, Universal. And if we were late on anything, we lost money, hard money, because our money was determined by the length of the campaign. When we make commitments, we have to be able to honor those. And it's our job as a national board to be servant leaders to the active chapters, the people who are actually building our brotherhood for the future. As a national board, we have to set the strategic vision, we have to set the roadmap, and we have to see where we want to be in so many years. But when it comes to the tactical execution of that, a lot of that comes from the active chapters. So if we're going to hold chapters accountable to one level of performance and saying that if don't have this in by the 9th, you're going to get fined or whatever, we have nationals has the same exact responsibility, because otherwise we're setting a horrible example and we're not fulfilling our roles and honoring our sacraments by saying, well, it's okay for us to do this, but not you. It should be the same across the board for everyone. And so part of what we want to do, or what I want to do as president, is that once we have our board established, we got to make sure that we're all in the same direction mindset-wise, in terms of commitment, in terms of communication. This is a volunteer national board, so things aren't going to move as quick as we want them to, but as long as commitments are being met, we will hold the national board to the same standard that we hold active chapters to. I don't feel it's okay for one to get fined and another get fined, but when someone tells me they're going to email me in a day, I expect to see that email the next day. And when the first time that doesn't happen, unless there's like a really good excuse, you have an issue of trust. And then once you have an issue of trust, you lose all respect. And that's the thing that I really want to work on to get us to that next level. And this goes in line with us adjusting our business processes, adjusting positions and responsibilities, and making sure that we're all just doing what we need to do. So this was a video went a little longer, but I did get a lot of content into it. I want to thank you for watching it. I know it's a little bit longer. If you have any questions, you can go to my website, tonyp2015.com. Any questions, comments, concerns, my entire biographical information, employment history, endorsements, campaign team, the whole 9 yards is there for you to see. So thank you for taking the time. I know this was a lot to put into one video. If you would like further discussion on any of these topics, please feel free to message me on Facebook or text me, Skype me, and I can expand a little more. But thank you very much for your time, and have a great night.